A little light here. Got that. Not bad. Move the little thingy there. Try that. Too bad. I'll try and move that a little closer.
Yeah, and move it over a little bit so it's centered in the screen.
I'll try and do it where you can see my face and the thing.
You're 2 minutes late.
I'm not late. I'm still prepping. Hey, David. Oh, yeah. Matter of fact, I was sweating this weekend, doing a little shoveling. Dry, yeah. Now it's supposed to start raining tomorrow and rain Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we got what stuff we needed to get done today. I'm going to be doing a little construction this week. And then assuming that the weather cooperates, let's see. And it says rain Wednesday and Thursday, Friday cloudy, Saturday sunny, Sunday partly cloudy, I guess, or partly sunny, whatever you want to look at. Let's see what we got here. Chance of rain on Friday, getting better in the afternoon. Yeah, Thursday's pretty damp. Saturday should be good. Sunday, real low probability. It should be a pretty good weekend. Temperatures says in the 30s for the low. Yeah, it's not bad. The grass had frost on it in the mornings. And Eva's been doing some work at the disturbed area, she calls it. I was doing some other stuff, and unfortunately, we ran a little short of time, so I didn't get a video of what she's been doing. But she's been working pretty hard. Well, I know the sun comes above the horizon about 7:30 in the morning. And it starts warming up pretty quickly up there. But yeah, it's not too bad. And I'm feeling pretty good in general. Eva seems to be getting stronger. So everything. Hey, Mr. Virtue. Happy holidays. That's hardly into October.
We just had Thanksgiving in Canada.
Oh, the Canuckastanis have Thanksgiving, huh? Okay.
Yeah, their Thanksgiving was last week, I think, or earlier this week. I think it was last Thursday.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I did a lot of work this weekend, and I wasn't dragging ass like I've been for the last month or so. And we did a fair amount of work in the lab this week, last week.
Which reminds me, did you write down your hours?
No. Oh. 3 days, time to hill, 2 hours, Monday. samples. And good Lord, what the heck was that just went flying on the floor? Oh, hydrochloric acid, no big deal. It's contained. Jeff Bybee says, today is Italian Appreciation Day, huh? Lasagna for everybody. So another thing we're doing right now is the sample from the mystery dump. We've been running it over the sluice and then getting various tailings fractions. And due to some complications, we decided to do a test where we did not use Eco Goldex while we were sluicing it. We moved the tub out of the pad area so we didn't put water into the circuit, and set everything up so we have sluice, which is getting a concentrate. We had the bucket, which was coarse tailings. We had the big tub, which was fine tailings. And then we had it overflowing into a large area that I just covered with a tarp as a slimes catch. Rock! Ha! I got a rock to show you. Rock. This the one? Yeah. Let's see if we can. Now, is this the kind of layering you tend to get in a boiling water system? Is that the kind of lamination that is indicative of that? And let me show you some of Eva's crystal clusters she got here. And here, oh, yeah, there we go. That's not too bad. That's some of the quartz. Now, is that boiling water or just an epithermal system? I say, I'm not sure. And does epithermal mean a boiling water system? But this is some of the stuff at the disturbed area. Okay, good. Got it. I'm still learning, but these are some really nice quartz crystals here. And I'm sure that tells you something. Mainly, they're white. Some look like they may be smokies as opposed to a coating, but it's really hard to tell.
See if you can show them this one, because this one is amazing. The tiny crystals are deep root beer / red, and the taller crystals are a very light yellow to white. Well, clear.
Okay. So here's some more stuff she's found. She loves her little crystals. At the same time, she goes and stockpiles bigger chunks of quartz. Now the quartz that I caught, I got this trip from the area that I discussed with you, Rock. It's confidential. Was pretty clear looking quartz, yet it panned some fairly decent gold. The matrix was not as good. And I'm not sure if I'm deep into the stuff yet. I think there was a
we
little
don't have
knob
any
sticking
bread.
out that I'm kind of through. Yeah, I know we don't have any bread. We ate it all.
I told you I wanted a sandwich.
Sorry. Then we needed to stop at the grocery store. Uh, um, but anyhow, so I think there may have been a little hump sticking up, and now I'm through that. But that adit is more of a decline, a shallow decline. Okay, but it's also got a bunch of what looks like fungus in it, mold, and even had a bad feeling about that. So we just secured everything for the season and left it there. Um, with any luck, we'll have a few more weekends. Ooh, that's good, David. Little one.
What?
Live long and prospect. So, anyhow, uh, gonna go focus more on the disturbed area and maybe opening up that one adit down there. If I can get that opened up and so air can start exchanging, I would give it all winter to exchange air. That would be good. So that's kind of where we're at there. We had an interesting test out at the lab. We just hadn't had a chance to put the video up, but it occurred to me at the mill, the stripping circuit runs intermittently in terms of, hey Dave, the solar system is of limited power, and so we only run the heater, which is what is that, 500 watts?
Something like
I
that.
think it's a 500 watt heater. Not sure, but anyhow, we run the heater um, when we're there off the generator, and once it's up to temperature and stuff, when we leave, the electrolytic cell and the uh, little pumps continue to work. And then I had a horrible thought. I said, maybe some of the reason we're not getting the kind of recovery we thought we should this summer is not, maybe it's not so much the grade of the solution, but maybe when we're running this stripping circuit intermittently, when it cools off, the gold precipitates out of the solution. So what we did was last week, while we were um, you too, Rock. Um, so we took, while we were stripping gold and our copper strip in the solution coming right out of the cartridge was getting good gold. Then we took some more of that solution, put it in a beaker, and set it on the countertop. And we came back today and tested that. It's been sitting there. Interior temperature is probably dropping around 50 degrees or so. And there was some precipitate on the bottom. But when we just put the beaker on the stirrer and put a copper strip in, and it seemed to have virtually the same amount of gold in it as it did, Thursday afternoon when we left it there. So that's a good thing. I was very worried that we had been inadvertently doing something very bad. Luckily, it doesn't appear so. So that's good. The bottle rolls. When it's all rainy and stuff, we have preloaded solution. We've got samples. One is drying. One is dry now. This is a split off of the coarse tailings, and fine tailings are currently in the oven, and the slimes are in a bucket outside that I'll have to bring in and probably kind of stir up the mud thoroughly and then take out a sample of the mud and dry it out. That makes perfect sense, Rock. You ought to have Halloween a month earlier too, so the little kids can run around and ask for candy when they're not having to use snowshoes or skis. But anyhow, so we'll get that done. So I got a little construction project to do here, and then we'll get the videos posted. One is about the little beaker test we did, and one on this sluicing, and that's going to be broken in two parts because there's the actual sluicing and getting the samples, and then there'll be one on the actual sample. These samples are going to go in the bottle rolls and with Eco Goldex, and then we will take those solutions to the assay lab, and that should give us a overall system recovery. The gold that's left in those samples is what? 5,000. Come on, where are you there? And the 100 mesh and smaller range, so they should bottle roll okay. A few days of bottle roll, we should get almost entirely. Not in specific, Rock. I really thank you for the help there. And when I put up that video from the disturbed area, which is going to be a public video, see what you think and let us know what you see on that. The quartz is, in many cases in the wall rock, you can see the little veinlets in wall rock, clear as day. Other times you got like broken zones and stuff like that. But we shall see what we shall see. But I do appreciate the help. And next season, we'll probably continue on that spot a bit. Yeah, it'll be after next weekend. We don't have the video, the raw video. But yeah, hopefully I'll have it up on Sunday so you can look at it before the live stream. I appreciate your help very much. I'm panning the tailings, Shaggy, and I can tell you for certain that some of the gold is washing out. The stuff in the tailings is lower concentration than the feed grade by quite a bit, and it's finer grain in general than the feed grade, which is happy Thanksgiving, Jim. And it's exactly what you would expect. A longer sluice would definitely give you better recovery. Okay, no doubt about it. Is the water muddy? The slurry density is hard to evaluate in terms of the solution we're feeding into it or the fresh water we were running into it is not muddy. That's basically clear. We're taking the ore, putting it in buckets, and slurrying it before we feed it into the sluice. And again, you'll see that on the video there. And I was trying to keep the slurry density of that fairly thin, so it would have time to um, uh, the particles can act as individual particles without viscosity as much as possible. So I say we tried to do everything we could, but it's still, yeah, I can pan gold in the tailings, but then I can pan gold down to 1 or 2 hundredths of an ounce per ton. Um, it's definitely a lot lower than the head grade. The amount of recovery we're getting now, again, it's kind of hard to tell because I don't really trust the assays that much because we don't have a lot of them. Ideally you'd have a big sample, like 1,000 pounds, split it down and have like 4 or 5 samples run, and then get a statistic. However, let's see, equals 31 equals 22. I'm thinking, using the grade that in my head is kind of a statistical average or whatever, we should be getting about I'd say about 25% of the total gold is coming out in that little sluice. Now, it's just a little sluice. It's not 6 or 10 feet of sluice or anything like that. It's also very fine gold. But that's where if we can catch everything over 100, 150 mesh in the gravity system, the Eco Goldex should get the rest. So that's what we're doing right now. By not having any Eco Goldex contacting the ore from the get-go, we're able to get samples, dry the samples, do all that without complicating the issue with, is the Eco Goldex working on it right now? So let's say we got clean gold in the samples, whatever it is there, and we'll do the bottle rolls. And this is reasonably fine material. This is 100% passing 30 mesh. I'm guessing, I haven't done a sieve analysis, but somewhere I don't know. Matter of fact, I just lost my train of thought. Damn it. But anyhow, so it'll be interesting to see what we get with an estimated 1/4 to 1/3 of the head grade being recovered using gravity. It's not bad. We'll see what happens. We're getting a lot of fine steel. We're also getting some other kind of white metal in there. A lutriation tower could work. A hydrocyclone could work. There's lots of different ways, but I say that the whole theory is if the Eco Goldex works on everything below 150 mesh, what's the brown stuff in the slurry? I'm presuming mainly iron oxides, but it's kind of hard to tell. There's also some clays involved in panning. Yeah, some clays and some iron oxides. No more. I can't get more precise than that because I really don't know. But if you're talking the brown beads, that the heavies, those look like iron oxides. They didn't. The last set of tests, Eva was the first 200-pound tests, she went and once I got the concentrates out of the sluice, I panned them down. Well, we did a magnetic extraction, and that went to one smelt. We did the super concentrates, which is the gold looking stuff and a little bit of other stuff. That went to another one. Then the remainder, she screened to 60 mesh minus and plus and did those. And she's done that for 2 tests, 4 different samples. She's still finishing up on the second one. So theoretically, we should be able to get a good guess. If this is what the supercons are, this is how much should be in the magnetics, and this how much in the brown stuff, large and like that. But the whole situation, I told her, after this, we're just going to put those tailings from panning the cons into a separate container and just build up until we have enough there. And we'll probably do a leach or something. Probably regrind it and then leach it to get anything out of it. What was your first cons beat? Super cons beat?
I do not.
You don't remember, yeah. Okay.
No, because on hybrid test number 1.
Yeah, possibly, Brian, exactly. We can worry about that
I haven't
later on.
done a straight run of test B.
What?
On hybrid test number 1, I split it into 4 things.
Yes.
Supercons, magnetics.
And what was the supercons?
It was 0.29.
Okay, 0.29. And the overall was 0.3 what?
0.335, I believe.
0.335 minus 0.2 what? 5?
0.290 or 0.280.
0.29 equals 0.0045 point. And the was 0.3 what? For all 4 of them?
0.335, I believe, or 0.355.
Okay, so the other 3 beads only wound up being 13%. Hey, Jean-Francois. So again, we weren't getting that much out of it. And it was smelting with the collector metal, and it's like, okay. So 85% of the gold that was captured by the sluice winds up in the super concentrates. We'll just put the rest away. And sometime when we have enough to worry about, exactly like you're saying, hot leach it with a booster. There's lots of different leaching technologies. Let's see. About how many grams are we talking about all total there? Little one?
How many grams of what?
Total concentrates. The supercons, the 60 plus, 60 minus.
On the first sample, it was like 50 grams or something along those lines. The second one was a lot more concentrated.
Okay, just a second. So 0.04. So, and about 50 grams, huh? So 2,000 kilos divided by
1,000.
0.00 kilos equals 40,000 times 0.04. So about 1,600 grams per ton in those tailings there. So yeah, it's definitely worth reworking, but we'll just hold them for now. But yeah, exactly. A finer grind and some kind of efficient leaching solution makes sense. We're also thinking about maybe testing a direct electrowinning when we get to that point. We have a tank leach, or not even really a tank, just a batch leach. Okay, David, that is something equivalent to a 5-gallon bucket that's super rich. Um, then if we can get the conductivity area, we might be able to directly electrowin. We could certainly get it to cement on zinc or something. Sure, Jean-Francois. What is your question? Oh, you like that French? Are there specific voltages to selectively extract gold and silver than other metals? Yes, depending upon the system, the electrolyte, etc. By using very specific voltages, you can be very selective. Okay, and that's what they call electro refining. And with the Eco Goldex, I presume you could, but the question is, are you trying to refine, or are you trying to just gather as much of the good stuff as quickly as possible? The two are a bit at odds. If you put more voltage than you need, you're going to grab stuff more aggressively, but you're going to get more different kind of things. If you were dealing with, like plating solutions and stuff like that, by using precise voltages and stuff, yeah, you wind up with a very, very pure product, 99.99, that sort of thing. In the case of processing an ore, you're just trying to get all the good stuff, and you don't worry too much about how much bad stuff in general. Not if you're going in a production system first, Jean-Francois. If you were like processing ore, then you'd usually do that. Hey, Chris. Sweet. The question is, yeah, I say once you get it in solution, again, if you got a good high grade solution, you should be able to do that, Jean-Francois, by using different voltages. You should be able to plate, first one, then another, then another. By the way, Chris, the reason I called you, I think it was Friday, was we started getting some smoke. And so I was just curious where this was coming from. And so we were able to get up onto the mountain and get enough reception that Eva was able to determine where the fire was, which was 50 miles away. Not uncommon around here if you got a pretty good fire going. In this case, it was a controlled burn. But that smoke can go a long ways. So that's why. No problem, Chris. I say it was not an issue. It's just I called you first, and when you were busy, we, found an alternate system. Just want to let you know it wasn't a problem at all. I say that's why I said it was not urgent. If it had been both important and urgent, I would have said so. Okay. But no, everything worked out fine. Sunday there was, I think it was a controlled burn, much closer. In the neighborhood of 5-8 miles away.
Yeah.
Exactly. But it was like 2 columns of smoke, fairly small columns, pretty big, pretty dense columns. So I'm thinking it was probably slash that they were burning and stuff like that. We had some up right over here, just south of Helena in the mountains, a week or two ago. Same sort of thing. So I'm pretty sure it was just slash. Um, where we generally park over by top of the hill, um, first of all, it's grass. Secondly of all, there's a dirt track essentially. And so if there was a fire coming through, I'm pretty sure we could punch through it in bugs without a problem and get to the other side of the grass fire, so to speak, if we had to. So it wasn't nearly as worried, especially if we had great visibility. See, kind of like that. This is one of Eva's specimens she got. Did you dig this up or was it laying around?
I pulled that one off the bottom edge. That was close to Joseph.
Okay.
Pretty much on surface, but close to Joseph.
Jean-Francois, how well does it work on old, crappy wood that's been laying around a while? We got megatons of that stuff around here. I would love for someone to be able to make piles of money cleaning out the dead trees around here. It would be highly desirable. Oh my goodness, what a mess it is in places. So, yeah, I say if it worked on like old, wood that's not suitable for, structurally anymore, I know where you can get a lot of it. Jean-Francois says, a friend of mine did a business study to feed forestry waste into a plasma incinerator to generate gas and electricity. Numbers computed quite well. It would have been quite lucrative.
Oh. What about a gasifier? Don't they use wood?
According to Chris, gasification works fine, but the EPA makes it problematic. Yeah, I agree with you, John. They don't want to fix anything. They just want to pretend like they're keeping it under control. They don't want to eliminate the problem because then they'd have to get another job. Absolutely. Yeah, I've noticed that too. Either that or, like the dust standards. Uh, once they got the PM10 all taken care of, then it became PM3. Oh yeah, they always have to make it cleaner than it was last year, and once we get it that clean, I have a friend that got. He was working on the groundwater cleanup at Rocky Flats and called up one time and said, man, I've got job security because the new standard came out and they want us to get the groundwater contamination below background. This is going to take a while. And yeah, exactly. It just, at a certain point you got to say, that's clean enough.
Well, I bet I know what their theory was there.
What?
Equilibrium. If they get the groundwater if they get the water radiation below background, then the water will magically suck the radiation out of the background, and then you just keep cleaning the water, and pretty soon you'll have a radioactive-free planet.
Well, sure, absolutely, because there's all these places where there's no radiation whatsoever.
It's totally scientific, dude. I'm telling you.
Jean-Francois says government is an entity run by its own employees for their own benefit, and they're a gun-toting social metastasizing cancer. Okay, I'll go with that.
No argument for me.
Yep. So, anyhow, I did a lot of work this weekend and I feel just fine. So that's good. 1200 becquerels. What is a becquerel? I'm used to a number of other things. I was going to say, I thought becquerels were a fairly big unit, you know? Yeah, I was born up the Cold War, so we'd heard of, Rentgens, and 600 rems, that's a lethal dose. So anyhow, so we'll have some more videos coming out here in the next week. I should have, let me write this down. Check on that, and video on sluice test, and video on beaker test. That's stripper. That's right. You like me to make stripper videos, right? It's all about the stripping. 1 disintegration per second in what? Rems to becquerels. Rem to becquerel conversion. 1 sievert equals 100 rem. 1 becquerel equals 1 count per second. 1 curie equals 37 million becquerels equals 37. Okay. So what's a sievert? 1 sievert equals 100 rem. That would be a pretty high acute dose. Would be a sievert. 1 rad equals 1 rem equals 10 millisieverts. Man, goodness, that's really useless. Oh my goodness. Okay, whatever it is. A little too complicated here. 1 tick on the Geiger counter, huh? Hey, Lars, how's it going?
You don't have your sign up.
I don't have my sign up. That's right. Oh, what else is on there? Oh, by the way, Jean-Francois sent me some information, but I also called the manufacturer of the Falcon metal detector. And apparently we have an older version. And he was a very nice guy. Very, very happy with the customer service. He said, first of all, check the batteries. Apparently one of the failure modes where you just get the tone all the time is one of the batteries is like for the speaker, the audio circuit, and the other one is for the detector circuit. So if the one for the detector circuit fails while the other one is still working, you just get a solid tone. Another one is the plug from the detector wand into the box. That can also, I think, check those. It was fine. So took the, he showed me which potentiometer to adjust. We tried it, wasn't working. And he said, that machine is so old, the circuit board is so old, that if you try and, unsolder components and solder new components in and stuff, the copper tends to peel off of the circuit board, you know, backing and everything. So they're just such a giant pain in the keister that he says, I don't even work on those anymore, which is perfectly understandable. The basic thing was, if it was newer, I'd be happy to work on it. That one, just buy a new one. So, in my inimitable genius, okay, I thought, okay, I have a device that doesn't work. I have a device that isn't repairable. Therefore, I shall try applied G-loading. So I just turned it on. It was making a beep. Then I go whack on the countertop, and it fixed it. Exactly, Chris. It might as well give it a shot, and it worked. Apparently, especially if you don't use it very much, you can get oxide coatings in some of the components, and so just jolting it can kind of, get through that oxide coating, and it worked. So now it appears to function. Yep. Pretty much, you either, either break it thoroughly or you fix it. What the hell? Nothing to lose. Anyhow. Oh, and what? Grab a little bottle of deoxit tea. Oh, to keep handy for stuff. What is deoxit? What do you just spray it on your components? Let it soak into them? Is that how it works? I mean, you just spray your potentiometers with it and see what happens? I presume it's not flammable. By the way, since you came in a little bit late, Chris, we did a little test up here with a sample of the stripping solution to make sure that by turning it on, turning it off, and like this, because of power requirements and such, we weren't precipitating gold once it was in the solution. It might precipitate out when it got cold before we came in the next day and turned the heater back on again. So we took a beaker of solution that we had kind of calibrated the copper strip test on, and then a fresh beaker that, after we did the test, then, just ran it into the beaker and then redid that. And it seemed to be fine. There was a little bit of a precipitate in there, but apparently it was not gold.
The oven is off?
Yeah.
Okay.
The sample is almost dry. Why? Do you need something dried?
No.
Okay.
I thought you were drying a second sample.
It should be dry.
Okay.
So, anyhow, and then I got that bucket of slimes outside. I'm going to have to do something there. That's going to be interesting. Probably have to use a Corel thing for that, because I'm just going to have to cook it in there instead of drying something that's only damp. I'm going to have to cook that. The tailing samples were running, before and after weights and everything, running almost a little better than 20% moisture content. So, deoxit gold G series. What the heck is this? Okay, let's see. Close that. Contact enhancer, conditioner, and protector. Formerly Pro Gold. Really long-lasting protection on gold-based metals and other precious metals. Contacts. So that's for like contact strips and plugs and things like that.
Shit.
Not for internal use in potentiometers, I presume.
Oh well.
What did you do?
I knocked over a can. What else?
Okay. You're taking lessons from me, apparently, huh?
Ruined my pad of paper.
Oh, dear. Apparently there has been a liquid spill. You need more over there?
No.
Okay. It works in pots, huh? Okay. That's what I was wondering. Oh, interesting. If it does it again, I'll do that. I finally ordered some Eco Gold X. Shipping is expensive.
Yeah.
It is. It's like 40% of the total price. Oh, sure, it should work. I got the S, but as far as I know, they all work. And somebody last week, I forget who it was, suggested that by using sodium percarbonate, you can really juice it up and increase the activity. So just be aware. Oh, thank you, Jean-Francois. I just got a radiation detector, so possibly, Jean-Francois, I'm not the chemist to be able to make that call, but that's kind of my understanding, is that basically it's just it's like, what do they call that? OxyClean? It's a solid chemical that generates um, hydrogen peroxide when you dissolve it. I guess that's the concept. We may do some testing on that this winter. We shall see. I presume that if you were, yeah, I think it was you, wasn't it, Brian? I presume that it's going to increase your chemical consumption. So I would think it would be most useful in more like a tank leach situation where time is very valuable. If you could cut your residence time in half, you could increase your throughput by twofold. That's a huge improvement. And but I presume it'll also burn up your Eco Gold X at a higher rate also. So that would be a really good trade-off in some situations. If on the other hand, like what we're doing where our ore flow is the problem, probably not going to be uh, an issue. And Chris says you may also want to add amines or ammonia, huh? Jean-Francois says using hydrogen peroxide with glycine dissolves gold plating like crazy.
Yeah, I think Jean-Francois was talking about the glycine thing a while back.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's been working on that there. Just sprinkle the dust on the rocks and the gold comes to the surface. I wish it was that easy. Anyhow, so as I say, that's kind of where we're at. Just too much stuff to do, too little time to do it. How much glycine do you need and how much does it cost, Jean-Francois? Hydrogen peroxide is pretty cheap. I know glycerin is readily available, but that's not glycine. Let's see. Yeah, glycine. GLY. L-Y-C-E-N-E. Glycine. Doesn't seem to be terribly expensive. 1,000 milligrams. 100 vegetarian capsules, $10. So 1,000 milligrams. So that's 100 grams for $10.
Ow!
Ooh, Swanson ultra glycine.
That's a ridiculous price.
About 75 grams per liter. Yeah, that'd be quite a bit. So it's 500 grams, about $30 Canadian. Non-food grade is cheaper. Yep, I would think so. Probably wouldn't even need reagent grade, just tech grade, huh? Let's see. Let's go to this one. Amazon. Glycine. Tech grade. GLY. See, this is what I hate. It's like I said tech grade. All I'm getting is food grade. Oh, I hate search engines. Anyhow, Chris says $16 a pound.
Yeah, ridiculous price.
Depends on how well it works. What's the rated consumption? If you don't have to use a whole lot to replenish, yeah. Yeah. I've just been busy. Jean-Francois. Oh, there's so many things I can do in the wintertime. The extended warmth here is very handy, but it's kind of weird because you never know when the season's going to be over. It just one day you look at the weather forecast and go, "Oh crap." That's the end of that.
And all the mountains are white.
Yeah. No, it was the weather was beautiful up there this weekend. Cold in the morning, but somebody sleeps in until it warms up while somebody goes out and does the hard work that keeps you warm anyway. No big deal.
I told you to wake me up early, so don't you even start.
I'll start if I want. Okay, Brian. And I got the, let's see, Boss Recreational Mining there. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, today I'm not sure what it was. Right now it's 67 degrees, but it felt kind of warm out there in the sunlight. And
my phone said that it was like 70 degrees, and the thermostat, the thermometer outside said it was like 80.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, John. See if I care. I can't see it from here. Can you realize how tedious it would be to try and type that out? Anyhow, so say that's about it. It's been basically a lot of physical work, not a whole lot of real exciting stuff. Eva over here has been working pretty good. Yes, we are using a generator to power things at the out of the mill. That's correct.
Well, we can't leave it running.
Yeah, we just got to turn it off when we're not there. Hi, Charles. Thank you, John. $60 standard American voltage. Yep. Yeah, we're just doing standard American stuff over here. So Eva's been doing a lot of work, and it's nice working close enough where we can yell at each other and hear each other a little bit, so we're not isolated. Still haven't seen hardly any critters up there. We had some weird kind of bird. What kind of bird did you think that was?
Some variety of a thrasher, it looked like to me.
A thrasher, huh?
Yeah, it looked like
Thank
some
you.
variety
Let's
thrasher.
see.
Because of the shape of the beak and the general shape of the body. I suggest
that doesn't look like a.
There are like multiple different types of thrasher. I suggest you just put in birds of Montana.
Ooh, birds of Montana.
Yeah, and see if you can find a chart.
There's lots of brown thrashers. Huh.
Yeah.
Let's see. It was a real pretty bird.
Birds. A buff-colored body and black and white tail.
Of Montana. Yeah, it was a fairly good sized bird.
Yeah, about the size of a magpie. Some magpies have long
tails.
Putuck,
high-flying birds of Wyoming. I'm not sure. That's kind of pretty. Not coming up with anything quick.
Well, it was not a bluebird.
No, it wasn't a bluebird or a cardinal.
Yeah, we like bluebirds.
Yep. Let's see. There's a 240 volt output and what the breaker is. It does have a 240 volt output. Let's see. Ching. Generators. Well, that's just ridiculous. Welders. Generator. I'm pretty sure I know how to spell generator. Search results for generator. I love this. Pittsburgh Automotive 3-ton low profile heavy duty floor jack stands thing. There we go. There's the one that it is. No, it's not the 3,500 watt. Generators and engines. There we go. Come on. Jesus. I know what I want. Let's see. Looks like that one there. Stupid damn computers. Generators. Yeah, could you give me a list of freaking generators?
The one we have out there is a Predator.
I know. It's that one right there. Now, could you You got all kinds of ads, but could you just show me that particular one? Yes, there we go. That's the one. Okay. Predator 9500 watt super quiet inverter generator, blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Where's the frickin' specs? Product highlights. Product overview would be nice. Includes 420 volt, 20 amp outlets, a 120 volt, 240 volt, 30 amp twist lock. Okay, so it has an outlet that apparently is either 120 or 240, presumably, different plugs have different things there, but that's what it is. Okay. Speaking of critters I saw, my first ever pack rat. You're kidding. You haven't seen a pack rat before now, Dave? He's also got a tenant that's about 3 times bigger than a pack rat, silverish in color. Correct, John. Harbor Freight. Some subterranean critter 3 times bigger than a pack rat and silverish in color.
Maybe it's some kind of a bowl.
What kind of tail does it have?
Yeah, pack rats have the funny
tail. Does it have a long tail or a short tail? Badger could be, but they're not solid silver. They're going to have like black markings too. Hey, Tricky. Long, thin tail. Marmot. That's what I was wondering. What color are marmots?
I think marmots might be silver or brown.
Lars, probably too cute. Let's see. Marmot. And it can be a very light brown. Marmot. Badger looks more likely to be silver in color, but it is kind of got a stripy face. The face and neck are kind of striped. Groundhog. Let's see what a groundhog. They're very similar.
I don't think groundhogs are silver.
Yeah, I don't think they're silver either. I think they're brown.
No, groundhogs I think are like
yeah, it looks kind of brownish.
Dark sandy.
No, there's one that's almost a silver color. It's got a long-ish tail, not a really long tail. How to clean and skin a woodchuck.
How much wood do woodchuck wood?
Wolverine? I hope not. Lars says
Wolverines I think are more dark gray and black.
Lars says, my guess is a ringtail lemur, but I'm usually wrong. No, it's too small for that. You put it on a treadmill and build up energy, Gear it down so you can lift a heavy weight, and then you can use that to run your hoist. Well, that sounds annoyingly complex, Jean-Francois. I want critters that are easy to kill it and grill it. I hear that pronghorns need to be cleaned immediately. I mean, you know, make sure your knife is in your hand by the time it hits the ground, sort of thing. That could easily be Dave. Um, my guess is that it's a fairly high elevation, 8,000 feet or so. Marmots are a high altitude critter in general. By the way, is anyone aware of any molds that are often underground that could be hazardous to your health?
I can tell you what they look like.
Uh, we were looking at an extended dog hole this weekend, and Eva said she didn't want me going in there because there was some mold in there, and she thought it was potentially hazardous to my health. And for some reason, she doesn't think that life insurance is worth it.
It isn't. This is a known fact. You have crappy life insurance, dude.
Rodents carry the plague. Not too often, though. More likely hantavirus around here. And I think it's mainly the deer mice that do the hantavirus thing. Well, I got a phone call. Hold on. Call ended? Wow, that was quick.
Don't look at me.
That was my brother. He realized it was my live stream. I betcha. Oh, crap. It's Monday night.
He actually thought about it. Really now.
Mold, as in fungus.
Well, tell them what they look like.
Well, some's white and some's black.
Oh, good grief.
Looks like mold.
Move. Somebody needs to describe this stuff. Okay. Variety number 1 is a white fungus that in underground areas, and when you pull up certain rocks, the quartz ones specifically, in the dumps, it looks like a thin white sticky material, almost like almost like spider webs, but really, really solid. Now, inside this adit that we were looking at, it comes in circles like this. In the middle is a very thin film over whatever it's growing on. The outer edge is a distinct white ring that's got really long white filaments, so it looks all fluffy. Okay. Mold number 2 is only growing in certain areas. It seems to be directly associated with organics rather than growing on a certain type of rock. In appearance, it looks like a deep matte black velvet. No spiny things, no wispy things, no feathery things, just a really thin black mold coating. Yeah. That's my thought, Lars. I took one look in the hole and I was like, oh no, you ain't going in there. I mean, I have run into the white stuff underneath my quartz when I pull it up in the dump. It'll have a thick coating of white fungus mold growing underneath it. And I do my level best to never touch that shit. Okay. I mean, ever. Oh, I ran into another thing. It's some kind of a fungus. It grows exclusively underground. It is about, the one I ran into was about the size of my fist. A very solid, mildly folded, pale cream and tan fungus that on the top surface, closer to the top of the soil, even though it was fully underground, The outer surface of it was a sort of a deep rose pink, and when broken open, it looks very solid and very fleshy inside, and it has almost the appearance of sliced cauliflower florets inside, meaning like stem and then uh, floret shapes. Very bizarre stuff. Yeah,
Now, apparently, everybody seems to agree with you, little one.
yeah, I told you. And yeah, we're going after her with Clorox. 10% bleach solution, just like hantavirus. Told you I didn't want you anywhere near that crap.
Zonrox or Domestos bleach? Do you mean domestic bleach? Chris says, possibly edible with that description on the fruiting body. Yeah,
I never saw any above ground indication of that particular fungus. Okay?
I'm from Arizona.
That particular fungus,
We don't have
I only
fungus.
saw the underground part.
It's all desiccatified. But anyhow, yeah, she was saying before I went in there, we need to just spray it with bleach one weekend and then come back a different one.
And spray it with bleach again, and then maybe kill it with fire. I'm in favor of this too.
Borax is also toxic to mold. A mix of peroxide and boric acid and borax, huh?
Well, then we can try that with the bleach.
Domestos bleach, very thick, from the UK, huh? Well,
of course, they have all the good stuff across the pond.
Domestos bleach. They sell it on Amazon. Huh. Well, it's going to be hard to spray it if it's thick. Bleach, primarily sodium hypochlorite. Okay, so it's just a concentrated bleach, huh? Monopropylene glycol. The best way to mold-proof wood is a solution of 50-50 water and propylene glycol, dissolved borax and boric acid. Interesting. We'll have to research that. We're not going to be back there until next season, maybe. So we have plenty of time on that. But thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, he had some crazy idea he was going to crawl in there with all that nasty, moldy stuff. Egypt male.
Well, I wasn't going to be licking anything.
Not the point. You breathe it.
Well, yeah.
I wouldn't even trust an N95 around that stuff.
Well, they make special mold respirators. I hate it when that happens, Jean-Francois. Let's see what a P100 mask is. I remember one time organic vapor. Let's see. The purple was familiar. Yeah, because one time Eva's son we had to clean out a trailer or whatever, and he got a respirator with supposedly for mold. P100. Yeah, okay, well, we'll get prepped and everything. Stop licking the fungus. Back when I was a kid. Anyhow, okay. So I'll check that out over the winter, and we'll worry about it next spring. I say right now we've got what samples we could without entering, and I say we got so much other stuff to do urgently that we'll just let that sit for the week. I mean, for the winter, and focus on the disturbed area and that other adit. While I'm talking, anyone know an inexpensive wheelbarrow? I mean, a decent steel wheelbarrow without an inflatable tire, with a run flat tire. Because I'm going to go, getting to the place is going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass. Getting up will be even worse. But once I'm there, I need a pick and a shovel and a wheelbarrow. So the idea is to get a wheelbarrow that's cheap enough we can just leave it there. The chances of anyone stealing it are pretty minimal anyway. But does anyone have any particular suggestions as to where to get one? Because it looks like about the cheapest you get now is about $100. Single wheel, David. Just a single wheel with a non-pneumatic tire, but a decent.
But it's not plastic.
Yeah, it was a decent, no air needed tire. The one I'm currently using was like, I don't know, about $100 a couple of years ago over at Ace. They had it on sale. It works fine. But nowadays they're a little bit pricier. Ooh, good point, Jean-Francois. Let's see. Let me see what the Ace Hardware. Let's just see what it is this year. Ace Hardware official site. WHEELBARROW. Wheelbarrows, hand trucks, garden carts. Fairly similar. That's 129. That's a decent one for 69. That's a residential. Let's see what this 69 one is here. Oh, come on. Could you just frickin' scroll, you stupid piece of crap? Poly tray. Oh, no. Plastic no work for bears. Bears me mean to. Oh, well. About $100. Garage sales, yeah. 24-inch rails are fine if you don't have to carry them down the hill by yourself. Really, Naughtius? That's no good. We're basically just kind of keeping on. Hey, break for bedrock. We're doing fine up here, Adam. And
Hiya.
we just saw frost for the first time this weekend. We were, by the way, Nautilus, vitamin D, zinc. You can't take it after you get the COVID, but if you just take it all the time, we've never got sick. Okay, and let's see. Yeah, we're doing good, Adam. Having a good time here, and we that might be possible cutthroat, but yeah, we're staying busy. It's not getting too cold yet. We're just wondering when winter is going to show up because it's been brisk at times, but not bad during the day. As long as the sun comes out, in good shape. And the biggest problem we've had in the camper is too hot from the heater. You know, take vitamin K2. Yeah, we take K. Otherwise, yeah, Eva handles all that stuff for me. I just, oh my goodness, where is it? I forgot to take my pills this morning. The horrors. The Eva gets this all figured out. Wow. Something just hit the ground. You have one. That's like a vitamin E or D. I'm not sure.
We've got vitamin
magnesium.
E, we've got our multivitamins. The vitamin K comes from our food the way it should.
And there's something on the floor. Let me get a light and see what happened. It went kaping. Yep, there we go. One of these little gel cap thingies. Let's see what happens there. Whoa, that looks so cool. Oh my goodness.
What are you doing?
Oh.
What in the world are you
Take a
doing?
look, little one.
I'm looking.
See, I had this flashlight. So I was looking for something. So, well, let's see what happens when I do it in the thing there. Look at that. And then I turn it on to strobe.
Good grief, Barry, you're going to give somebody a seizure. Stop it.
Let's see if it's shining on me. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, because the scan rate of the camera is similar to the frequency of the strobe. Oh. Jean-Francois says you're going to bust the video amplifier of your cam. Is that correct, Jean, or are you just giving me a hard time? Brian says I must have licked the mold. I wouldn't be surprised, Jean-Francois. Oh. 10 to 15 hertz, huh? Okay. Now, if you have just a regular LED flashlight, does the LED normally have a pulsing frequency? You know, like a high frequency or something? Is it just a steady light? You know? Brian, you will send Eva good lab shit. You will send Eva good lab shit.
I'm continuing to make offerings to the fairy god scientists. Sooner or later, things will appear. I have faith.
the beat frequency between the pulse width modulator of the LED and the shutter speed of the camera. Yeah, it was something like that, but it sure looked cool. The LED is pulsed at a high frequency to maintain a given current. So it actually, the LED on that flashlight is not a steady light. Yep. Yep. Anyhow, so that was kind of fun. It's science. Anyhow, yeah, I'll have to get a wheelbarrow. Let me write it down. I hate to take that other one down there. The vertical relief around top of the hill sucks. I mean, one of the claims we staked recently, you've got your two corner stakes going across the claim. You know, it's a 600-foot width. It's 200 feet vertically. It's like, oh, that sucks. And down trees everywhere, too. Oh, yeah. Just so much fun. But it's strange that we see so little critters up there at top of the hill. That should be cool, Jeff. Jeff says to try an LED flashlight in a rainstorm. It's an interesting thing. Cool. Okay, Jean-Francois, go ahead. Asketh away. I may know the answer. If not, someone here probably does. As you notice, we got some pretty smart people here. Put 400 mesh zinc powder that had clumped. I put 400 mesh zinc powder that had clumped into my Rebel 17 hexagonal tumbler with 1 inch and 5/8. It broke the clumps. Yep, I bet. Yeah, no, it is. It sucks when you're just not going up to speed, and you got enough ability to think that you're not there yet. Yeah, I say it's a little tiny ball mill. It would certainly work. Yeah, I've got some tungsten powder outside that's clumped. It got in some water. 150 pounds of that semi-clump powder. You thought of a cement mixer? Just a thought. Cement mixer and some cobbles. You don't need to have steel balls for zinc powder. You can go with just rounded river rock. One thing, you can buy tungsten powder for putting in golf clubs. I don't know. But anyhow, it's a real good simulation of gold for practicing, panning microfine gold. Never, ever get it mixed in with your gold, or you'll never get the two separated by gravity methods. Trust me on this one. 30 pounds of tungsten powder, huh? That's a lot of tungsten powder. Yep. Little one, I would like you to spell me here and when you can.
I'm going to the bathroom.
I understand. Just letting you know. Anyhow, Yeah, 200 mesh tungsten powder is a very good um, substitute for gold in practicing your panning for microfine gold. It works very well for that. Uh, density so high, about 1.5 liters. Yeah, sounds about right. I Jean Francois, I figure if I drop it on my foot and it hurts, it's a lot. Okay. But yeah, I'd say it's very good for practicing that. Um, better than lead filings or some of those. All that's probably about the next best. You know, after that, just about any kind of metal filings will work. Uh,
When you come back, I need a few minutes to get my tinfoil hat report together.
Fine.
In the meantime, I'll just sit here.
Okay. Sit here and look pretty. That'll work.
Hi, everybody. I have been finding so many cool crystals. I'm a very happy camper. Yeah. Tungsten is a very useful thing. Just be sure you don't actually mix it with gold because getting them separated again can be very tough. No shiny hat yet, Jean Francois. As soon as he comes back, I will go online and find something I can talk about that is not going to get us in serious trouble and is not going to send me off on a rant. And that'll be fine. But yeah, I've been finding a lot of crystals. I am a very, very happy camper. I have many crystals now. I just have to figure out how to clean them because some of them are so delicate that, of course, you can't use even a soft wire brush on them. I'm going to try plastic brushes next. I don't have any high pressure water in a fine enough jet to try to clean them with that. I considered the possibility of ultrasonic, but then the dude pointed out that they might explode. So, you know, or shatter, you know.
Show them that little one you got. It's Sandy.
They won't be able to see that on the camera. One of them that I found is literally less than a quarter of an inch tall, and he is an absolutely perfect shape. 6 faces, 3 of them large, 3 of them small, all of them symmetrical. Just the barest hint of an angel in there. Gorgeous little guy. Yeah, electronic cleaning, I certainly, I would have no objection to the idea because I want to clean them. I can tell that some of them are just varying colors in the same rock because they're dirty. Others are varying colors in the same rock because of variations in the crystal. I want to get them clean. So there is that. Anyway, he's coming back. I will get my tinfoil hat report together. Mr. Virtue, yeah, I can shoot light through it. I haven't tried yet, though. Not for, Here. Do
What?
not drop my little guy. Do not drop.
Well, that's more than a quarter of an inch. It's at least 3/8. I don't know how close I can get. Yeah, it's a pretty little thing.
I found that right on the ground, loose.
Okay, it's right over here.
Okay. Yeah, I actually found that right on the ground, loose. I'm a happy camper. I'm finding many crystals.
Hydrogen peroxide? I don't know. Depends on what it is.
Well, I could put
You
one
have
in the sink and dump some hydrogen peroxide in with it and see what happens.
No, it's just a little teeny quartz crystal.
Very
That's all.
tiny quartz
Just a
crystal.
very pretty, clean crystal.
Perfectly symmetrical, too.
Chris says oxalic acid. Any luck with new mine prospects? Not at the moment. We're constantly doing things. We're having fun looking, but not at this moment in time. And we shall see what we shall see. Oh, but let's say the mystery dump stuff is it's a decent grade, but I don't know how much we're going to be able to how much there is of it at a decent grade. We'll see. Getting a new narrow gauge here. How much does the rail cost, and how much does an ore cart cost for that? And then I presume you're using um, something like 4x4 ties, something like that. We have some stuff in Montana that we're only working in Montana. If you're in Idaho, if you're ever going to be heading through the Helena area, give us, contact us, and we can see if nothing else we can get together and talk or this or that or the other, and show you some of the sites, some of the mines around, things like that. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not at liberty to disclose or whatever, but there's a lot of public stuff. This is a real target rich environment around here. Uh, oh, I can definitely get you some samples. That's not a problem. I can just have them. If you want a big rock of kryptonite, I got one sitting at the bottom of the steps. I've never bothered to pick it up and haul it back into the mill. We did it. It was, we were testing the ability to drill it.
Yeah, it didn't work very well.
And yes, you see, your role as the lab guy, huh? Oh, well, you and Eva will have a good time yakking then.
Yeah, the lab is my responsibility.
What kind of lab guy? Okay. Actually, I felt pretty good this weekend. Hopefully, we'll have good weather next weekend, and my body will hold up as well, and I can get a lot of stuff done. That would be cool. And hopefully, we never did. Where I dug that trench, that little narrow trench, we never did hit any bedrock there, did we?
No, we did not.
Hmm. I did. Oh, cool, Nautilus. I did do a little dowsing, and it was interesting. I think was it Paul Coover that sent me the?
I believe it was Paul Coover.
I think it was Paul Coover that sent me some dowsing rods.
We still have to do that video.
And they were wooden rods on bent copper wire holders, And he had them labeled. This one's silver, this one's gold, this one's neutral, stuff like that. And so I was wandering around the disturbed area, as Eva calls it, and I was deliberately just focusing right in front of me on the terrain because, first of all, it is a little bumpy, but secondly, I didn't want to, you know, now there's no way you can keep your subconscious mind from being aware of stuff, even if you're trying to ignore it. But I had one that was labeled neutral and one that said gold. And I'm walking along, and the gold one would turn. It's like, okay, I'd have Eva put a flag down and, go around. And again, the gold one was turned. So I changed hands, figuring, okay, now let's see if, it's the hand. And it wasn't. The gold thing turned again. And it sincerely felt like, kind of like Jean-Francois. I've never done it before. I have talked to people I believe are very sincere that claim to have either done it themselves or have seen it done reliably. Never tried it myself. I thought I'd give it a shot. This was kind of a perfect test area in that it had been cleared off by a bulldozer, and there's quartz chunks in the dump and this and that, but there's nothing visible. And it's like, okay, somewhere here they scraped up some quartz, but I can't see where. So I went back and forth, and there was a couple times where I got a hit, and I looked, and I'm like, oh, they're lined up. I don't know. Anyhow, I get the feeling there's a tinfoil hat gazing on my back. See, the force is with me. The senses I have, I can tell these things.
For the record, I tried the dowsing rods as well. I put them up over my head. The first thing I did was I made sure that the wood was such that I could not read what was written on them from above. I stuck them both into the bag that they came in. I closed my eyes. I reached in with my left hand, grabbed one, kept my eyes closed, put it over my head. Reached in with my right hand, grabbed the other one, kept my eyes closed, put it up over my head. I had to hold those dang things tight because the one just kept spinning like a freaking helicopter. Quite bizarre. I also noticed that there's a qualitative difference for me when I switched hands over my head, still not knowing which was which. When I switched hands over my head, it behaved very differently in my right hand, my non-dominant hand, than it did in my left hand, my dominant hand. And then I repeated the same test with the silver, and the silver was even more energetic than the gold for me. So it is my considered opinion that, being a goddess and all of a tinfoil hat variety, I am more sensitive to the ether and the emanations and the ley lines and the energy of the planet. Therefore, these darn things really get way too sensitive. It was so much noise and not enough signal. So I think they're better off in the hands of metaphysical bricks like him. Just saying.
That would be me.
I'm going to try them again, but it was quite interesting. Hi, Shaggy. Jean-Francois, we did not use a metal detector as a control experiment because, first of all, the big Minelab 5000 we have is too heavy, too ridiculous, and not sensitive enough. The Falcon pinpointer is extremely sensitive, but has an extremely tiny detection area and an extremely shallow depth it works at. So the kind of things we have up there are not conducive to metal detector hood. Oh, and I also have a brand new magnet. My magnet is about a foot wide. It's a nice little foot on a nice little telescoping stick that I can change the angle on. So I finally have a good magnet. One can never have enough magnets. Just saying, one can never have enough magnets. Hmm, that sounds like an interesting book. Hey, Bear.
What?
Jean Francois recommended a book. Now listen to this one: The Planck Aether Hypothesis, an attempt for a finitistic, non Archimedean theory of elementary particles. I want one. I love a good book. Sounds like some really great reading, for me anyway. Anyway, I'm sure everyone has noticed that absolutely nothing of note is going on in the world, with the exception of the swastika waving, terrorist supporting idiots in New York and other major United States cities this week. Not that that surprises me in the least. People in cities are very, very, very dysfunctional at times. Just saying. Oh yeah, Jean Francois. I have no objection to that idea. So, mining focused buyout firm Appian raises $2 billion for a new fund. Appian Capital Advisory, the mining focused private equity firm, has raised $2 billion with a B for its latest fund as it takes advantage of renewed investor interest in the sector, fueled by a move toward green energy. Yeah. APN's Fund 3 will focus on middle market investments in the mining sector, looking at potential transactions in energy transition commodities and precious metals, according to a statement from the London based private equity firm. This is the first fundraising we've done where mining is seen as part of the solution more than being the problem itself, APN founder Mike Sherb said in an interview. From an ESG perspective, investors understand the importance of the sector is going to play in energy transition. The goddess is wondering just how long they think they'll be able to keep up the great green agenda charade at this point. The latest fund, which takes APN's total assets under management to about $4 billion with a B, can also invest as much as a third of its assets in areas like credit as banks cut their exposure to the sector. Well, no, said Sherlock. Of course, banks are cutting their exposure to the sector. Banks may be many things, they're generally not it. The latest fund, which takes Sapiens' total assets under management, we got that part. 12 by former JP Morgan and Chase company banker Sherb. Appian is one of the few dedicated investment firms focused on the mining sector. Well, yeah, let's see here. So it was founded by the former dude from JP Morgan and Chase. So JP Morgan Chase people, not being content with manipulating the metals market in commodities and paper, gold, and silver, also want to control the other end. Lovely. Appian is one of the few dedicated investment firms focused on the mining sector. It has a team of about 75 professionals, and the firm's portfolio companies have built 9 mines into production in the last 6 years. The latest fund will also look at co-investment opportunities, widening the pool of capital available for the firm. The geographical focus will be on countries with proven geology, supportive governments, and robust legal frameworks, Appian said in a statement. Good luck finding those, dudes. The fundraise was perhaps more accelerated than we expected, and we're oversubscribed in what is otherwise a challenging environment for a lot of firms, Sherb said. Fund 3 has already deployed about 10% of its capital, including through a joint venture with Toronto listed Osisco Metals to develop a zinc-lead project in Canada's Northwest Territories. It also bought a majority stake in the Rosh Pina zinc-lead mine in Namibia. Investors seem to have done a lot of homework when it comes to mining, Sheriff said. Yeah, that'll be the day. They realize mining is probably the procurement point for everything you're trying to achieve in renewables and energy transmission. Well, yeah. In June, Appian agreed to sell two Brazilian mines for about $1 billion with a B to Russian metal industry veteran Artem Volyniet's blank check firm ACG Acquisition Company. That deal collapsed when parties couldn't agree on revised terms of the transaction, ACG said in a statement last month. Appian has since been speaking with other buyers for the assets. Appian has received a lot of interest from potential suitors for our Brazilian mines, Sheriff said. We're in discussions with one party around these assets now. How lovely for them. Yes, how lovely for them. Goldfields named a new CEO and says their strategy remains unchanged. Mike Fraser is now CEO over at Goldfields. South Africa's Goldfields has appointed Michael Fraser as CEO from January, saying it expects no change in its strategy to find new gold deposits, build mines outside its home country, and grow the company in the Americas region. Fraser, a South African, left his role as CEO of AIM-listed Sha'arat Gold Holdings on Monday. He's previously served as Chief Operating Officer of South 32's aluminum, nickel, manganese, and energy coal businesses. He brings a rich and unique mix of global, operational, and corporate experience, and his track record of collaboration in delivering superior results ideally places him to lead our management team in taking our business forward, Goldfields Board Chairman Yunus Suleiman said in a statement. What do you think of that, Bear? In a call later on Monday, Suleiman said, as far as the strategy is concerned, there's no plan to change that. During the same call, Fraser, who will lead the Johannesburg-based gold company's expansion in the Americas region, where it is investing in new mines in Chile and Canada, said Goldfields would develop a very strong pipeline of opportunities under his leadership. Analysts at BMO Capital Markets said some investors might have preferred Goldfields' interim CEO, Martin Priest, being made permanent, as his technical background would have been useful in the ramp-up of the Salares Norte project in Chile. Despite Mr. Fraser's prior experience in mining, it is our opinion he's relatively unknown amongst gold and mining investors, and the market might take a wait-and-see approach. Goldfields is racing to start bullion production at Salares Norte later this year after challenges related to COVID-19 and adverse weather conditions. The project is key for Goldfields to boost output to about 2.8 million ounces by 2025 from about 2.3 million currently. The miners joint project in Canada with Osisco Mining could start producing gold in 2026. Goldfields, founded by Cecil John Rhodes in 1887, has shifted its focus to lucrative deposits in Ghana, Australia, and the Americas, given the geologic challenges of digging for the metal in some of the world's deepest mines in its home country. Priest will remain as Goldfields' acting CEO until the end of the year after his predecessor resigned over a failed bid to acquire Canada's Yamana Gold, then continue in an executive role, the company said. Well, we shall see what we shall saw. Now, in other random news, it may have escaped your attention. About 3 weeks ago, well, actually less than 3 weeks ago now, the United States deficit stood at just under 32 trillion with a T dollars. September 29th, the United States debt stood at 33 trillion and a little bit of change, like 0.4 trillion with a T dollars. And here we are 10 days later, and said debt has already increased almost 500 billion with a B dollars. Now, it should be noted that our federal government and Lord Malarkey and his minions in Mordor on the Potomac had assured us when they removed our debt ceiling and suspended it until, coincidentally, just in time for the election in 2024, that the most that might get added to the deficits between now and then would be maybe $1 trillion or $2. Well, then another government set of numbers came out from some of the doomsday people in the federal government that actually attempt to make some sense out of government numbers, which is a futile effort in itself, stating that, well, that wasn't exactly right. There was a pretty darn good possibility we could hit 40 trillion with a T the way things were going by 2026 or so. Well, it might come as a shock to you unless you can actually do some math and have an IQ higher than your underwear size and more intelligence than God gave a doorknob. At the current projected rate that we are currently at, we may well double our debt by 2025. It might also interest you to know that our current interest payments are now set to pass our military spending. And at the current projected borrowing rates and the current projected interest rates, even if the Fed does not raise rates anymore, it is a very good possibility that in less than 1 year from today, the interest payments on those multiple trillions of dollars will amount to more than our entire incoming tax money. They will amount to more than Social Security plus Medicare plus food stamps plus our military budget.
That'd be bad, right?
Oh, no, not at all. You see, This is what people are.
I'm glad. I was scared.
Oh, there is nothing to be afraid of. And that's the point I'm going to make. Because once again, our government and all those wonderful economists out there are saying that it functionally makes no difference whatsoever. Because printer can go brrr until the end of time. As a matter of fact, we can add an infinite number of zeros to the end of that fiat currency. And it will make no difference whatsoever in our fundamentally strong and absolutely sound American economy.
Hashtag Zimbabwe.
Hashtag raving Keynesian bullshit. Hashtag we are screwed. Hashtag buy gold and silver. Just saying, at this point, it's really a bad idea to have any faith whatsoever in your country's system of fiat currency, whether you happen to be an American or anyone else. America especially, I don't know what everybody else's fiat says on it, but our fiat makes it very clear that it is indeed nothing more than a debt instrument. So the very fact that you can take worthless debt instruments and trade them for real gold and silver is really kind of cool. Just saying. How paper money turns governments into predators. Spoiler alert, governments are predators to begin with. Just saying, And that is a known fact here. Aside from stealing, and by the way, this is written by Peter St. Ong. Aside from stealing your life savings and launching depressions, one of the nastier features of paper money is what it does to governments. In short, paper money transforms governments from parasite to predator. You can actually be both. Governments have been managing this forever. Because once a government can print what it likes, It no longer needs taxes, meaning it no longer needs us. We saw this in living color during the COVID lockdowns. Just imagine a world without a central bank, where in the first days of the pandemic, some young bureaucrat proposed shutting down the entire economy. No worries, he'd say, the economy and tax revenue will shrink by half, but we can just lay off half the government workers. He'd have a very short career. Instead, they did have an in-house money printer. The Fed alone pumped out the $6 trillion, 6 trillion with a T, to make up for lost taxes and the $1 trillion bribes it cost to get voters to accept lockdowns. Many voters were happy to get paid to sit on the couch, even if they were arresting priests for conducting mass. We're now dealing with the economic and social aftermath, with millions still out of the workforce years later, trillions in fresh debt with no end in sight, and kids who can't read. We'll continue paying for it for decades because they had a money printer. The paper money printer problem has existed since the first days of paper money 1,000 years ago in Song Dynasty China. The Song are interesting for two reasons. First, they were one of humanity's most spectacular golden ages that invented much of the modern world. Second, they invented paper money, which led to hyperinflation, economic collapse, and turned the Song into a gutted carcass the upstart Mongols rode to burn half the world. The early Song dynasty was prosperous thanks to pro-growth Confucian policies. Traditional nobles were replaced with the new imperial exam system, which promoted from all ranks of society according to ability rather than birth. The exam curriculum included economics that were surprisingly sound. Property rights and open markets were seen as the foundation of prosperity. Quite a difference from currently. To give flavor, the standard imperial exam answer to local famine was to subsidize inbound transportation, pay every cart that comes into a district, which is brilliant and, unlike government policies today, actually works. Compared to, say, Hurricane Katrina, when our federal government instead impounded every 18-wheeler it could grab and sat on them while the people had no water to drink. Famously, some of those impounded trucks actually contained drinking water Walmart was trying to bring in. More broadly, the Song operated on Confucian principles that emphasized the importance of a prosperous people. Because prosperity means tax revenue, and it means peasants who don't revolt. The state gets full coffers to pay for the soldiers, and the people are content. Their prosperity led the Song to invent many things we still use today. Dubbed China's Age of Invention, the Song invented porcelain, tea, the compass, windmills, paddle boats, and canal locks, the university, mass production, and commercialization, what we would call branding today. The population soared as new farm implements and techniques were invented and disseminated by marketing. The era was so prosperous, contemporaries complained youths were spoiled, and young women didn't know how to cook because they ate out all the time. That sounds awfully familiar for some
Like
reason.
chopsticks?
Unfortunately, the Song ended up inventing something that ended up destroying them: printing blocks. Imported centuries later to Europe by Johannes Gutenberg, the blocks were first used in the Song to make cheap books, including study guides for the imperial exam. But the Song government quickly realized cheap printing could be used to print counterfeit silver certificates. Certificates were in common use since it was easier to trade paper than coins. That sounds familiar too. The coins would be in a warehouse. The warehouse would issue receipts, and the receipts were traded. This turned out to be an irresistible temptation for the interventionist Prime Minister, Wang Anshi, who cranked up the wood blocks to finance socialist policies. Really now? You think? He mandated the death penalty for refusing the counterfeits, akin to modern legal tender laws with a capital kicker. The Song quickly turned from nurturing prosperity to actively attacking it. Regulations were imposed on small businesses, landlords and merchants were dispossessed, and their lands redistributed to the poor who didn't know how to farm. That sounds familiar too. How many decades ago was that now? As food output fell, the Wang government issued free seed to new farmers. Of course, hungry farmers didn't plant it, they ate it. As tax revenue collapsed and welfare payments soared, the Song doubled down on printing and doubled down on suppression. A wider range of crimes were made capital offenses. Even the imperial exam curriculum was rewritten to promote socialists, echoing today's socialist capture of universities. Coal production and iron smelting collapsed, again echoing today's suicidal green policies. Entire industrial regions were abandoned, like our Rust Belt. The population retreated to subsistence farming, then they began to starve. With real wages falling, the army lost its loyalty. Large landlords and merchants went bankrupt. Hyperinflation ravaged what was left. The money printers, as always, reacted by increasing their annual issues nearly 14-fold, right up until the Mongols were at the gate of the capital. Once victorious, the new Khan retired the printing blocks and reintroduced a silver standard in the new Mongol Yuan dynasty. China's hyperinflation finally ended. It should be noted they introduced a silver standard. We all know what the goddess thinks of silver. We're already far along the path of the song. Paper money is now worldwide, beginning with World War I and metastasized by Nixon's 1971 temporary suspension of the gold standard. Since 2008, the printing has accelerated to the point COVID lockdowns finally showed the world's governments they don't need us anymore. Some even say it out loud. MMT proponent Stephanie Kelton has bragged that governments don't really need taxes. They should instead use taxes to punish carbon sinners and wrong thinkers. Really now. Note, Stephanie. Solidifying the goddess's opinion of the women in positions of power. No, thank you. The goddess is a sexist, okay? For the past 50 years, the world has flirted with hyperinflation. As I write this, there are 5 countries with annual inflation over 50%, including Turkey and Argentina. The largest economies in the world, the US and EU, are returning to the double-digit inflation we thought we'd left behind in the 70s. The path from 10% inflation to hyperinflation isn't direct. Historically, it's a ratchet that can go gradually over decades or quickly over years. But going by the post-Nixon fiscal realities, they're going to hyperinflation as fast as voters will tolerate. How to fix it? Simple. Back currency with hard assets. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin, now that I disagree with him on, would all take the money printers away. Hard money would return us to the era when our governments wanted the same things we want today: prosperity, social harmony, and peace. A people who are productive, ambitious, and industrious, rather than a nation of irresponsible sheep. The state's incentives should be aligned with ours. Government should only succeed when we succeed. Paper money breaks this. It's already turning government from benevolent helper and protector to predatory beast. The sooner we establish hard money, the sooner we can tame that beast. That is the nature of government to begin with. It's just magnified when you take away sound money. Okay? Just saying. So let's see what is actually going on today in our metals markets. You would think that metals markets would be going insane because, well, there are things going on in several parts of the world at this point, okay? Things that normally lead to really good metals prices. Gold closed at 1,864. Silver at $21.90, up 4 cents. Ha ha. Just saying. Platinum at 890, palladium at 1118, and rhodium at 3450. So, yeah, that is where we are. Because, well, of the way things are. The goddess strongly advises it would be a good idea to fill your gas tank tomorrow morning. As a matter of fact, it would be a very good idea to never let your gas tank go below half full from this point forward because things are getting a little sketchy in the energy department. I don't know if you've noticed this. The goddess would also strongly recommend plenty of canned goods. Chicken prices are going to go up again. The goddess is hearing disturbing rumors from the poultry industry on this matter. And meanwhile, silver and gold are miraculously still on sale. Therefore, it is time to back up the freaking truck because if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Bye bye.
Sounds like a good start, Goldpan. um, I never heard that story before. It sounds amazingly accurate.
What, the story of the Song Dynasty?
Yeah,
Oh, I knew about that.
of course she did.
History rhymes, Billy, history rhymes.
Anyhow, so as I say, I fixed the Falcon after talking to the manufacturer, ascertaining that there's no fix available. I just gave it a good swift whack on the tabletop and it started working. So apparently that's one way you can kind of adjust um, oxide resistance levels on various contact surfaces. Uh, Eva's been running about the disturbed area, collecting quartz and stuff. We have how many buckets of quartz did we bring back? About a dozen from there. Seems about right.
Um, yeah.
Yep. And so I'll be able to crush up a really big sample um, that we can then pulverize and um, get a good idea of what that area seems to be. So far, the assays have been less than stellar. Let's see. Hmm. Yep. Yes. I mean, it's the sort of thing that if you were to have a whole mountainside that did this, yeah, it would be very saleable. What the hell is that thing? My goodness.
No clue.
Well, it looks like some chick is a warm fleece face cover with, wow, it looks like something you would wear if you didn't want to be recognized while you robbed something, but probably would keep you warm. Man, the luminous bionic soft bait prawn looks very, very realistic. Wow. What the hell is this site? Timu? Oh,
Ah, Timu, shop like a billionaire.
shop like a billionaire? Whoa.
That's their tagline.
Wow. Anyhow,
It's like Wish or AliExpress.
no 50-pound nuggets. Um, made
But some gorgeous quartz.
that either one would work fine with me, Goldpan. So, anyhow, we went and Eva did her thing. I was digging some stuff and finally got to something that looked like it might be. It panned a little gold, and we'll see about that structure. Uh, we did another test last week where we took some of the material from the mystery dump, did a gravity extraction with water so that we could then take the samples, dry them, and bottle roll them without interference from the Eco Goldex we were doing the other samples with. And two of the three samples are dry now, and the third one, two of the three, and the fourth. Yeah, okay, Keith. More caffeine. Uh, but anyhow, the third one is in the oven right now. It should be fine in the morning, and then we can start our bottle roll tests. Uh, let's see. We got video to post of the gravity test on that. We got video to post. We also did a test on the stripping solution. Because of power requirements, we've been running it kind of intermittently. We'd fire up the stripping circuit, put the cartridge in there, and start stripping, get it up to temperature and stuff, and then have to turn off the heater to conserve power overnight, and come back the next day and restart it. And we're concerned that perhaps during the low temperature time, it might be precipitating gold from solution. We did a tabletop test video forthcoming in the next couple days that seemed to show that that's not a huge problem, at least. It's not quantitative enough that we could tell that there's no issues, but it's not a substantial issue. We can tell that for sure. And so presumably it's not a serious issue. And we got to get your rock hammer too.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we're doing lots of shopping.
Important stuff, shopping. I think
I'm getting a real hammer. That's important.
I think you really need to get a backpack that has a number of pouches on it. Okay? Because it makes it a lot easier to get to individual items than having them all in a single big pouch. So that's my thought. I think we need to get you another knapsack too.
We will look at the thrift shop.
I think you need something probably bigger than what you're going to find in the thrift shop, but we'll see.
I don't need anything bigger. I couldn't carry it comfortably on my back.
Well, we'll see what they got in the thrift shop, but my guess is they're not going to have much in the way of pink. I do like when she's wearing the pink backpack. It is really easy to find her in the forest. So, anyhow, that's about it. Weather looks good for next weekend. Next 3 days should be rainy. So we'll be doing the bottle roll and a few other little things. And I got a little construction project to do for someone. I'll get that done. And we should be in pretty good shape. But sorry for the lack of videos. Been kind of busy. And also some of the stuff I just can't divulge. So that's what's going on here. And I think that's basically got it. Does anyone have any questions? Is Jean-Francois still around? He always has questions. Oh. Not too much fun, but it is nice. It's nice having Eva out there in the field with me, where she's doing something she likes to do. It's not real urgent that she push herself. And I actually like digging. I like moving dirt. It's in a situation like this, it's interesting. Just it's kind of like a treasure hunt, but also it's something I could do. It was so funny. Saturday morning, and I had that Tennessee Ernie Ford song running through my head as I'm doing 16 tons. How deep are you going with your leaching system? And now by that, do you mean how tall am I planning on stacking the material? Is that the question, Shaggy? Because if you take care, Goldpan. Because if that's the question, probably in the neighborhood of 5 feet. By then, it's a pretty small pad. By then, the side slopes are going to be using up so much of the surface area that it's going to be kind of limited. Plus, there's only so high. You take care, Lars.
It's only so high we can raise the freaking tank.
Yeah, to get the tank, this and that and the other. We'll see. Say if we wind up
I'm not
doing,
gonna climb 3 flights of stairs to do my test tube.
yeah, if we wind up doing the gravity separation direct to the pad leach with no tank leach, then that becomes a lot simplified. But we shall see. We got to test all this stuff. What was it? What was it that there was some result that just went all sideways on us. And we were worried that we were precipitating stuff on the pad there with the new stuff. I forget what it was.
I think it was when your tub came out so much lower than your. No, that was a different.
That came out so much higher. Yeah, the fine tailing. Well, not the fine tailing,
No,
but the fine
the tub
screenings
came out next to nothing. The Craig bond came out.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it was the solution samples.
Yeah.
Came up sideways, and the two obvious answers to the question of where did the gold go? Why did the gold concentration go down at the end of the test compared to up? Was because the either there was something in the ore that was actually sucking gold out of solution, or the solution that was being put into the system was not consistent. When you have a pond like we do that's covered, so there's very little wind to stir it up and things like this, stratification can take a long time to mix. Okay. It's one of those things that you can get a layer of rainwater and it's going to be really, really dilute, and it'll just sit there on the top. So this is another thing that this particular test is attempting to ascertain. Is the ore itself what they call preg robbing? Does it have something in the ore itself that once the gold in solution, it grabs it out of solution, just like the resin or activated carbon or zinc precipitation.
Or the organics from all the pine needles.
Yeah, the organics from pine needle. I mean, we didn't know, but the numbers were consistent with a seriously preg robbing material. So again, this is one thing we're going to be testing here to see if the bottle rolls don't get anything in them. We got some serious preg robbing going on. So that's why you do small tests, because when something comes out of left field and blindsides you, you want it to be something small, not something big. So that's why. Anyhow, did that answer your question, Shaggy? And you can see, little one, how poor the percolation is in that lower part of the tailings.
Yeah, it's awful.
Because we were gone 3 days.
Yeah.
And
awful.
There's still liquid there.
Yep. Unless there was rain that we don't know about.
And it was uncovered. So there's evaporation going on too. And that's why when I dump a new tank or whatever, I go out there and I scrape the slimes. Once it goes down, I scrape the slimes off into berms and things like that, but keep the pad itself as much sand as you can. That's real important for percolation. Any other questions, anybody? Well, I came so close to bleeding here this morning, little one. Yeah, I hit myself with a razor knife and just took a little bit of the epidermis back. Oh, see, I've been working. Anyhow, well, if there's no other questions or anything, I think I'll call it a night. Still no sighting of the minor Jim, so I'm not sure what's going on there. I think everyone is working hard, trying to get as much done before the first snow shuts things down. Anyhow, I don't see any new questions, so I think I'll call it a night. You too, Shaggy. And thank you, everybody, for showing up and helping each other out. I appreciate it. Well, the tungsten powder is good to simulate gold. I say it's very good if you want to test panning and this and that and the other. It works just like gold because the specific gravity is almost identical. They're like maybe a tenth of a point different. Thanks for coming around, everybody. You guys have a prosperous week. Happy prospecting and keep it safe out there. And stream and there.